Like, I'm going to blow up this smoke powder and kill us all. If you've got Karlach in your party, she's like, she's going to explode. That's my thing. And she's so mad at it.
How dare you take my gimmick?
So far away, Lucas, and lovely audience at home, who is your favourite character from Baldur's Gate 3?
I don't 100% know yet, because I am only finished with Act 1, as you know, Karl, but I'd probably say that it's maybe Astarion or Karlach.
Good job we're talking about one of those today, isn't it? Let's go.
Praise
And before we get to the wiki proper, I should mention that today's video is made possible by a sponsor. More from them in a little while. But first, Wiki Weekends, for those of you who don't know, is the series where I, your host of this episode, Karl Smallwood, am joined by my ever illustrious co-host, Lucas Holland.
Meh.
You know what? That's fine. We're leaving that in. And I scour the lengths and breadths of the internet for a wiki on a subject I'm interested in and bring it forward for discussion. And today we are referring to the Baldur's Gate 3 wiki, and we're talking about the character of Karlach. And as mentioned, Lucas, you've played Act 1 of Baldur's Gate 3. I have played Act 1, 2, and 3 of Baldur's Gate 3 about a dozen times. I checked before we recorded. I have 1,000 hours in Baldur's Gate 3.
Jesus fuck.
Yeah. Which I know is not even that much time to have played Baldur's Gate 3 for.
One more adventure.
Fine. But I won't be carrying you all again.
The thing about Baldur's Gate 3 is that a lot of people just love the world that was crafted by Larian, and they want to live inside of it, which would explain why people like myself have replayed it so many times. And that's understandable, given that it's based on the world of Dungeons & Dragons. Hell, I'm wearing a Dungeons & Dragons inspired t-shirt right now. For anyone curious, this t-shirt is the Forbidden Knowledge Keeper. This is the logo for Fact Fiend, reimagined by an artist in the style of a Dungeons & Dragons style, monster card.
And it really pisses me off that Wizards of the Coast are such bellends that Larian Studios just rid their hands of D&D entirely and was like, you know what? You were such a horrible team to work with. We're just going to do our own shit from here. So Baldur's Gate 4, if it ever happens, is not going to be made by Larian.
Yep. It's not, because as you mentioned, just the experience they had with working Wizards of the Coast was that bad.
Yeah.
And I hear nothing but bad things about Wizards of the Coast, which is weird, because every time someone talks about Dungeons & Dragons just as a thing, I hear nothing but good things. I've got a friend who plays Dungeons & Dragons every week, and they just love talking about the game. They were actually mad when they found out that this was a thing I got commissioned for Fact Fiends. I wanted one of those. And I was like, oh shit, I think I might have one lying around somewhere. And I checked, and this is the only one. And it's mine.
I never even got one of them.
You know what? No, I don't anymore. Fuck it, let's talk about Karlach. So Karlach Cliffgate. That's a name. That's a name from Dungeons & Dragons. Is an origin character and recruitable companion who can be romanced by characters of any gender. Because that's the thing about Baldur's Gate 3. It is the horniest game ever made.
Who is there for you when you get home from school? Always look so stylish, always act so cool. Who's your guiding light? Always ready to fight for your right to delight. Astarion!
I love this approach as well to romancing characters. And I remember, because I played Baldur's Gate 3 and was like, oh my god, this has changed my life. And then I played Cyberpunk because it was on sale for a tenner. And do you remember Cyberpunk, how much shit they talked about how expansive that game was going to be and how much emphasis to be placed on your choices as a player character?
Of course, yeah.
And no. Start the game. Ooh, which origin path do you want to pick? Street kid, finance guy, or person who lived out in the fucking sticks? It doesn't fucking matter. You get a different flavour of the same 10-minute cutscene that results in your player being in the exact same place.
It was basically the same way that they established character building in Mass Effect 3, or Mass Effect in general.
Yeah, and Mass Effect's another game that I probably won't be able to go back and play. Do you know when you play Metal Gear Solid 3? And it's so good, and there's so many systems, and it's so fun, and it's so intuitive, that you go back and play Metal Gear Solid 2 and I can't play it anymore. Because I can't go back to a game that doesn't have as much refinement as number 3.
I'm not really sure after playing like Metal Gear Solid 5 and Ground Zeroes that I'd call 3 intuitive anymore.
I guess that was just like the first example that sprung to mind. Like maybe a better example would be something like, I don't know, playing like a modern Call of Duty game and then going back to like a first-person shooter from like 10, 15 years ago.
Yeah.
Like you just can't do it. It feels so clunky and outdated. I felt like that playing Cyberpunk, a game that came out like 4 years prior.
Yeah.
Because of how like poorly they handled the RPG elements compared to Baldur's Gate 3. And same thing when I try to do like a replay of Mass Effect, and like, oh my god, I forgot just how limited you are in your choices of how to approach stuff.
Yeah, it's a very 2007 game at that point.
Well, it's got the excuse of being from like nigh on 20 years ago. What fucking excuse does Cyberpunk have? Of like, oh yes, unlimited choice to play the game the way that you want. I remember like, a character rocked up, and you know what? That's a cool looking character. I bet I can romance them, because just the way they're designed says romanceable. I looked up, there they are, by Male V. And just, it feels so limiting to have that in an RPG. Like, fuck it, just make the character gay. Like, make the character romanceable by any player character.
And I do maybe have to correct you at this point, because you mentioned that Baldur's Gate is the horniest game ever. I think there might now be a hornier game, because there is a game called Date Everything, and that is a dating sim about romancing every object in a house.
Maybe that's hornier, but I don't think it's sexier.
It's maybe not sexier, although I think a lot of the voice actors are very sexy sounding people.
Dear Lord, what a sad little life, Jane. You ruined my night completely. So you could have the money, and I hope now you can spend it on lessons in grace and decorum. Because you have all the grace for reversing dump truck without any tyres on. So Jane, take your money and get off my property.
And that's the thing about Baldur's Gate 3, where every fucking character is just a 10 on 10 money design. To the point where there are NPCs you encounter in the game that are so well designed and so well voiced, people assume that they were going to be companions. Like Althea, right? When we were playing through Act 1, and you encounter that bard lady, and you're like, holy shit, that's an awesome character. Yeah, that's just an NPC. This is just the kind of game where you'll randomly bump into an NPC that's so fucking cool, you're like, I want them in my party.
I'll never get tired of this view. Same here.
Yeah, and then there's Will.
Yeah. Like, Will feels like a default character, right? He feels like a character someone else made. But
everybody else in the party, including Karlach, is just, as you say, awesome design. And then there's Will. Just what? Just Will.
But let's bring it back to Karlach now. So Karlach Cliffgate is an origin character and recruitable companion who can be romanced by characters of any gender. And just in regards to that, I feel like for an RPG where the goal is I am role-playing as a character, I know, like, some would argue, well, the NPC was written to be straight, the NPC was written to be gay. Sure, but they're an NPC. Mm-hmm. Ultimately, the thing that matters is the player's experience. And I think it's just such an elegant solution on Larian's part, when they were, like, you know, writing and programming the game, that every character who could be romanced by a player character of any gender. And it is up to the player to decide whether or not each character is gay, straight, or asexual. Because you can have a non-sexual relationship with characters, and that is perfectly valid. In fact, there's some who would argue, for example, Astarion, who's one of the most horny, fuckable characters in the game. There are some who would argue that the only canon relationship choice is to be asexual and not have sex.
Being close to someone, any kind of intimacy, was something I performed to lure people back for him. Even though I know things between us are different, being with someone still feels tainted.
Due to, like, you know, information that's revealed as you get to know the character. And the fact that is a completely valid reading of that character, and the fact that that reading of the character is equally as valid as someone who reads them to be gay, or straight, or just not fuckable at all.
Yeah, I think it's way more important when it comes to role-playing to kind of meet the needs of the player rather than the needs of the world.
And the writer, right?
Yeah, it's one of those things of, yes, is it unrealistic that every single member in your party is somehow romanceable by every person and race type and body type? Yeah, sure. But again, play to the needs of the player and let them decide that, rather than making a world like Cyberpunk or Mass Effect where just half of your romance options are dead from second one because you picked the wrong type.
And I just said it's about player choice. And in playthroughs where I play through as a male character and I romance Karlach or like Shadowheart, in that playthrough, that character is straight. In other playthroughs where I play through as a female character and I've romanced like Shadowheart or Lae'zel or something, that character is now gay. Between playthroughs, it's my reading of the situation. That's what ultimately matters.
Yeah, it's very similar to how a dungeon master would probably play it, is that
responding to the
making
player input,
decisions, right? Yeah, they're making decisions on the fly to meet your needs and expectations. And
that's what a good dungeon master would do, right? They'd respond to the situation and adapt to it, rather than roadblocking you and saying, no, you're not allowed to do that. Because the question I imagine most like D&D players would ask when they're told they can't do something is, why?
Of the North Star and the Town of Isildur, how do you begin your adventure?
I want to get some bitches. We're the club at Isildur, yeah?
Tyrell, this is highly unusual. I think the guys probably just want to go on the quest that we've already...
Stephen?
Yes?
I'd like to join Kanye the Giant in his quest.
yeah, and I don't imagine there's many dungeon masters that would explicitly write the sexuality of every single NPC they make, like, before the characters even get to interact with them, right? They would probably adapt that on the fly.
Well, there probably is someone out there, and a DM would do that, and they're probably not a very good or popular DM. If they're railroading people into the story they want, rather than letting them experience the world in a naturalistic way. But, speaking of experiencing a world in a naturalistic way and exploring something new and exciting, let's talk about today's sponsor.
So, Karl, you say that we're sponsored for this video. I don't know much about this.
Well, I have been speaking to today's sponsor behind the scenes for a couple of weeks now, and they asked if their sponsor spot could be placed against a video on a fantasy topic. And I thought, well, what's my fantasy? A giant 7-foot-tall woman who can hug me and cradle me, who is also really warm for those cold winter nights.
That's a true fantasy, right?
That is the true fantasy is a loving relationship with a giant woman. Let's make it happen, folks. And they are the author Mui, or MWI. They didn't tell me how to pronounce it, but I'm going to go for Mui, because that sounds cooler to say. And they would like to advertise their book, War of the Remorphs.
And what is this book about, Karl?
Well, this book, I have the plot right here. So, the kingdom of the Remorphs, the land of shapeshifters, comes under attack and is destroyed. Left alone is a young child, Jerison. Fearing they might come for him if he ever reveals his true self, he stays guarded even from his friends. Life takes an unexpected turn after leaving the simple life to go on an adventure. And just going to put it out there, I'm available for voice acting gigs.
I want you to do Clive, the wet blanket man from Final Fantasy 16.
That's Clive getting hit. So I can only do... when I say I'm available for voice acting gigs, I mean for effort specifically. Do you think that's the limit of what... I'm aware of my own limitations.
But Karl, would you do an audiobook?
I would do an audiobook. If someone wanted me to do one. But you'd have to understand, it'd sound like this.
It'd be a Yorkshire audiobook, it wouldn't be RP.
And if anything I've just said sounds at all interesting, you can check out the links found below, both in the pinned comment and the description. But man, like, I am such a big fan of like when people create fantasy worlds, like a la like Dungeons and Dragons, because the one thing I'm always most curious about is, what do you call the currency of your world? And there's the rule of thumb, right, of like, if it's a fantasy, it's gold. If it's sci-fi, it's credits. That's the rule, right?
I guess, but like, I do appreciate when people go out, you know, outside the realms of things of like, even if it's just a little replacement for essentially what is a real world thing, like a lot of, for example, like Final Fantasy just uses gil instead of yen, and Pokédollars in Pokemon instead of yen as well, right?
Yeah, and in that vein, according to the... I've got their name on the email, but I don't want to say their name because maybe this is a pseudonym they write under, so I apologise. If I do say it, I'm going to cut it out. I'll bleep it. I'll bleep it with Karlach swearing. So in the email has sent me a short history of the world in which they've created, which can be featured in the book. And I as well, I love when, like, you know, people create a universe, a world, a setting. Tell me about that setting. Like, if you want me to, like, you know, live in this setting, this world, throughout this story, tell me everything I need to know about it.
It's one thing that I always appreciate in One Piece is they always, like, keep you up to date with little maps and diagrams of what's going on.
I do appreciate as well, Lucas, no matter what the topic, no matter what the subject, you always find a way to bring it back to One Piece.
I'll find a way. I will find a way.
You'll find out. Even in our sponsors, you'll find a way to bring it back to One Piece. Yes. Thank you to today's sponsor. As mentioned, you can find all the links below if you are interested in anything I've said. And yeah, let's get back to the video. But hell yeah. But we move now, Lucas, on to some basic biographical information about Karlach Cliffgate. So identity, female, voiced by Samantha Bayard, and just shout outs to Samantha Bayard for one of the best performances in the game, in a game of absolutely fucking phenomenal voice performances. Some of the best voice work I have ever heard in anything, full stop.
That's my reward for everything I suffered. That's why I survived 10 years of torment. The fight, the clawing, the loneliness. The fucking loneliness.
That's the thing is, like, I dunk on the idea of, like, Will's design, but even Will, a character that I cared least about in the party so far, they've still got a great voice actor, and all of the voice cast of the entire main party, and people outside the main party, are all phenomenal.
As mentioned, like Alfira, a random bard you bump into in Act 1, has such a good design and such good voice acting, people assumed it was a main character who was going to join your party. The voice acting of an NPC is so good that people assume, well, this has to be a main character, right? Why would their design and voice work be this good if you weren't going to spend more time with them? It's like, no, that's just how much fucking work went into the game.
Support the stars tonight, smile and pain will fade away.
Yeah, that's the thing is, the only game I've played recently that I think has as good as, if not better, voice performances is Claire Obscure, and that has a cast of like 10 people.
Yeah. Like, compare that to like Baldur's Gate 3, where it's like every NPC is uniquely voiced for the most part, save like, you know, big city areas where, okay, not every single random NPC, because there'll be like a group and you'll overhear chatter, but almost every single fucking NPC in the game is fully voiced. Every animal is voiced.
It's your lucky day. I am receiving compliments at this time, and you are most welcome to make an offering.
Yeah, and then obviously, like, they're not individually voiced, but like, you can speak with the dead, so there's lines from like the like narrator voice about what the dead are saying to you as well.
And in specific regards to Karlach and her voice acting, I'm not going to spoil too much, even though people out there like myself probably played the game multiple times. Luke, I won't spoil it for you, but it's not a spoiler to say that you can romance Karlach, right?
No, yeah, I've been working at it, Karl, but
you've been trying to climb that tree, right?
I'm trying my best to climb the tree, but Karlach is putting up a fierce retaliation, I will say.
She's not having none of it, right? You have not like wined and dined her quite enough yet to 69 her. But throughout the game, as the relationship grows, 'cause I did a playthrough where I was romancing Karlach, and then I fucked it up.
I remember you being deeply affected by this, because you would just get on like voice chat with me playing like some Helldivers or something and be, man, I have messed things up on my Baldur's Gate run, I'm so upset.
Yeah, I did something that upset Karlach, and I felt so bad I reloaded a save. The performance affected me that much that I reloaded the save. And there is like, obviously people out there have like just done every conceivable like permutation that they can and put it onto YouTube. And the one that I refuse to do in a playthrough, because like, it would take hours and hours of work, and it's like, I don't want to fuck up my playthrough by specifically doing this. But one of the single biggest like approval drops you can get in the game, it's like 100 points, and it is if you sleep with Karlach and then tell her that you don't care about her. And you get a bigger approval drop for that than you do for killing Astarion.
Like, You're not allowed to do that to her, Karl.
You're not.
That's
No.
not okay.
And of course, I'll put in clips of people who fucked up the relationship to show what I mean, but she just sounds so hurt. Like, she's not mad, she doesn't scream, she just sounds so defeated.
But my heart is telling me I love you. It's about the only good news it's given me. Ugh. I don't understand how this happened. What went wrong? What do you do when the person you want to run to is the one who broke your heart?
And it's a character that has been let down by people their entire life, right? And just, they finally become vulnerable enough to, share an intimate moment with you. And then you just dump them like every other fucker has in their entire life.
Yeah. And, in regards to her background, you alluded to it there, Lucas. So, trapped in Avernus under Zariel's banner due to the machinations of those she trusted most. Because that's the thing, Karlach has some big trust issues. Karlach has been fighting in the Blood War for a decade, away from all that she loved. With the incursion of the Nautiloid into the Nine Hells, fate would smile on her and give her a way out, only to turn her just as quickly. Free at last, though with an unwelcome guest in her head, she must protect her hard-won liberty with her life as she seeks revenge on those who betrayed her many years ago. With a malfunctioning engine for her heart and a burning desire to live, will she be able to save herself, or will the Hells finally catch up with her sooner rather than later? And like I said, you feel so fucking bad for her. She has such a rough time of it. But what I like is her response to that is not the typical way you'd write a character who struggled and been hurt as much as she is. Her response is to just absolutely carp the fuck out of all that DM and just live.
I adore you,
I love you too! Oh my god! I've been dying to say that.
And she'll talk to you about it. It's like, oh, I'm going to die soon. My heart's going to explode out my chest. So I'm just going to live every day as if it's my last. Because it literally might be.
She's not the downtrodden character stereotype, right? She is just willing to embrace what she is and, as you say, just live every day to its fullest, right?
Her character is such an interesting juxtaposition of the awful, terrible backstory, but then her chirpy, upbeat demeanour. It's really interesting, and it makes for such a great character to explore the nuance of. And as you get to know her, and you learn more about her, and it's the same for every character in the game except for Will. He's a boring character. I'm sorry.
He really is.
Every other character in the game I've done a romance playthrough for, except for Will, because he's just boring.
The last thing is, I looked at, the character designs, was like, hey, Karlach's fucking hot. I'm going to be the one to romance Karlach in this playthrough. She is literally hot. And I was going for that romance, and I was tempted by Gale, because Gale's a compelling character when you get to know them, and just, it's one of those things where no, okay, I'm not going to romance Gale because I'm afraid that might hurt my chances with Karlach, but I can see how you just, fall into, the soulful eyes of all of these characters and, fall in love with them, right? Because, the cheek of Astarion, or, just kind of the power of Lae'zel.
And Shadowheart, your original hair. What a fascinating choice. You look like you're about to recite a sad poem.
Hey!
And the pièce de résistance. Oh, so beautiful. And you've barely changed at all. 'Tis hard to improve upon perfection. So true.
Yeah, I think my favourite run that I've done, because I obviously first, as all straight dudes did, immediately zeroed in on Shadowheart. Straight a fucking way.
Okay.
Then I heard, though, as I started interacting with the community around the game, that one of the best written love stories is Astarion's. So I thought, you know what, I'm going to do gay Astarion run. Let's fucking go. And when you chip away at his facade, it's so good. And it's Neil Newbon, right? Mm-hmm. The voice actor for Astarion. Yeah. As you mentioned, Lucas, when you first meet Astarion, he's very charming. Disarmingly so. But as you get to know him, he reveals that, yeah, that's a front. I have to be that way because my master, because he's a vampire spawn, basically told me to go out there, chat people up, bring him back to his castle so he could like feast on their blood.
Right, yeah.
And something like he reveals as you are like, romancing him is that he's literally had sex with thousands of people. But the detail that he mentions is, I don't remember half of them. But you, I remember.
You're incredible. You deserve something real. I want us to be something real.
And that's the first hint that you're actually connecting with him. And a great detail about his romance, and part of the reason why some fans read him as being asexual and deem that an asexual relationship with like Astarion is the one true way to play that out, is because halfway through his romance quest, he asks you not to have sex anymore. Because he tells you, like, all I've done for hundreds of years is bed people. And I hate it. I feel so used and so dirty when I do that. Can we just talk? And it is possible to talk him into sleeping with you. And again, you feel like such an arsehole when you do that. I've not done it, but I've seen like because I've heard like the voice acting is really good. Mm-hmm. When you like talk him into it, you can tell that he doesn't want to. But he's terrified that the one person he's connected with in literally a century might leave him if he doesn't.
Perhaps you got the wrong idea. I never slept with you for pleasure alone. Couldn't you tell?
Yeah, that's really upsetting.
It is, and that's one of the things that the game deals with. Like, you have those moments, like, it is possible to enter into a polyamorous relationship with some characters, not all of them. But each character has the voice lines for you broaching the subject.
Yeah, because I vaguely remember you being curious and saying that you mentioned it to Karlach, and Karlach got really upset, right?
So, a handful of the characters will enter into a polyamorous relationship. One of them is Astarion. You can tell that he doesn't want to. One of them is Shadowheart. She's completely okay with it. She loves it, in fact. You can with, I think, Gale, but he just wants to watch.
Share? You're not a loaf of bread to be divvied up at supper time. I thought what we had meant something to you.
Which is really funny. Like,
that sounds like Gale.
That sounds like Gale, right? Gale in his wizard cook chair. And then on the surface, Karlach is okay with it. And I'll put the clip in here. But you can tell that she doesn't want to.
Our bed? Look, I'm not opposed in theory, but that's really not where I'm at right now. Not in my soul, not in my body. Halsin's great. If there was going to be someone more, I could see it being him. But not now. Probably not ever.
Because the way it gets broached is, you meet Halsin. He's the guy you can sleep with, he's the bear. The meme's like, oh, you can fuck the bear. When he broaches the subject, and actually will applaud them for explaining polyamory in a really easily digestible way. And when Halsin explains it to you, you can ask him, like, well, I'm already in a relationship. For most players, by the time you meet Halsin, you probably are in a relationship. And he just explains, like, look.
Yeah. You have bonded with Astarion, body and soul. His scent lingers on your skin. If there is to be anything between us, it must be with his consent. And perhaps someday, his participation.
And I've read responses from fans of like, this is the first time I've ever heard polyamory explained so well.
Some treat their relationships like a walled garden. Tidy, tamed, cut off from the world. That is their right, but it is not for me.
And while like exploring like the wider community around Baldur's Gate, I've seen people talking about how the way polyamory as a subject is broached in the game has helped them explore that in real life. Like, the game is so horny, people are getting more sex outside of the game.
Yeah, it's one of those really like kind of nasty misunderstandings where like a lot of people will just categorize it as like, oh, you just want to cheat without saying it's cheating and things like that. And it's like, no, it's very different from cheating on your partner. It's about communication and openness and discussion. It's not about just wanting to go and sleep with somebody else behind your partner's back or anything. It's so twisted the way that a lot of people view it, and that's probably because it's not communicated very well.
And the
right?
fact that this game just lays it out in like the space of like 1 minute, and you get the full spectrum of responses to it. Like Minthara, for example, is like absolutely fucking not. Like, I'm not mad that you broached the subject, we've not discussed it before, but if you sleep with somebody else, I will fucking kill you. Fair enough. Shadowheart's like, she like says, you know what? I thought about climbing Mount Halsin as well. Let's just hope that we can do it together.
And then, as you mentioned, Karlach, I remember, you can explain it better, but I remember you saying that, like, she's scared of losing you, right? So kind of agrees to it, but you can tell that she's not actually on board.
So her gimmick for romance is that she can't physically touch anyone because she has an infernal, like, piece of machinery where her heart should be, and she runs so hot she physically can't touch another person. And she mentions that. It's like, well, okay, I get it. You've got physical needs that I can't satisfy. So if this is what you really, really want, I'm not going to stop you. And then just leaves it at that. And you know, you can tell the character wants to say something else, but they don't.
Look, I don't want to be with Halsin like that. But if you do, that matters to me. We've only got our lives, after all. Short ones. Possibly very short with all the mad shit we get up to. Look at me. You're very important to me. Your happiness is very important to me. If Halsin will make you happy, what can I say but go for it? I don't need to hear all the gory details, mind. But have a little fun while you can.
That's the joy of having such good voice actors, right?
Nuanced, like, voice acting as well. Like I said, like, I've seen response from people who read Karlach's response. Oh, she's okay with it. She's fine with it. She said it was okay. It's like, well, she said she was okay. But if you actually listened, she kind of isn't okay with it.
And you have to wonder, like, are those people playing the game on mute and just listening to, like, something else? Because there's so much nuance within those voice acting performances that, like, I can't imagine that that's said with a lot of joy in her voice.
No. But there are people out there who have relationships like that, right? That's one of the things people have talked about. Like, something I found fascinating when I was reading through, like, responses to Baldur's Gate is that in real life breakups that Baldur's Gate has caused, because people have realised that their partners aren't as attentive as the romanceable partners in Baldur's Gate. Of, like, just how, as I said, like, how realistic some of the dialogue is, and how just well gotten across prospects and concepts such as, like, polyamory or, like, not wanting to have sex.
Yeah.
And people, like, having in real life breakups because they realise that their partners aren't as respectful of their needs or their desires as this fictional character from a video game.
And although it is just Baldur's Gate that I've played that has this level of nuance, it is nice to have a discussion of, like, well, in Mass Effect, it was just all about, like, you know, going to Bone Town. But, like, Baldur's Gate does have these discussions, and there's actual nuance within it, and there's multiple options of how to take a relationship. It's not all just about sex, and that being the goal.
Well, that's what I found interesting, because obviously my first impressions of Baldur's Gate is, like, it's the horny game where you can fuck a bear. Then I played it, and then I played it again, and then a third time, and then I started, like, interacting with the fan community, and then seeing, like, people's responses to it, and then seeing, like, articles people wrote about, like, you know, how it helped them realise that they themselves were gay, asexual, or they wanted to, like, you know, dip their toes into the world of polyamory. And, like, a game like this, being able to, like, affect people's lives just by, like, you know, its sheer quality.
Yeah.
It's great.
So,
but, you know, we'll bring it back to Karlach now, because we were getting a bit, like, too deep there, which, you know, you can't do with Karlach. She's literally going to burn your dick off. You don't want that, right?
Not sure that's the way I'd put it, but yeah, sure.
But I've got, like, as well, just a detail that I absolutely fucking adore, because, like, Karlach is adorable, is that when you, like, help fix her heart a little bit and you can actually start, like, you know, she can physically touch her. If you, like, talk to her, and then as you zoom out of, like, the talking screen and walk away, her character will briefly glow blue. because she's blushing.
Oh.
So like, instead of her face going red, her flames burn a little bit hotter and she'll turn blue. Like, what a fucking detail! Anyway, right, so, appearance. Karlach is tall and well-built. Fucking hell, yes she is. Her body battle-toned after years of conflict in the first layer of the Hells. Her vermilion skin is covered in scars and burns received in Avernus, with tattoos adorning her left arm, up, back, and part of her abdomen. She also has small exhaust vents on her shoulders that billow steam whenever her mechanical heart flares up.
Yeah, and, you talk about her being, like, a big built character. I think it is also, like, a really cool thing to see where, hey, we've got this, like, bigger female character that's
with an atypical
well
body type
built and stuff.
Right?
Well, yeah, an atypical body type. And just I was going to say that, like, it's a really cool option for people in the cosplay community, right? Where just, hey, it's not small, dainty woman, I don't fit that body build. It's like, no, if there's, like, the muscle mummy cosplays out there, like, you've got it.
Yes, and there have been, like, some fantastic cosplays of Karlach. In fact, there's been cosplays of, like, all the characters from the game. What this game did for the cosplay community, man. Just when I started seeing, like, just giant muscly women just cosplaying as Karlach, I'm like...
Like, Larian did us a world of good in that regard, yeah. And just...
You fucking go. So, despite her intimidating presence and bedeviled past, Karlach has a soft, warm, and caring face. And that's the thing as well. It's, like, just... The facial animations are so fucking good. For such a massive game. And, like, one that I adore, and I think I pointed out when we did the playthrough, right? Is when you're talking to Lae'zel, and you correct her, because obviously she's not from Faerun. She'll like, she says teethling, but she says it teeth with an F. Like she pronounced it wrong. And if you correct her on it, she rolls her eyes.
The teethling was clear. If there are a Githyanki west of here, that must be our objective. Purification cannot wait. I am unfamiliar with the, well, I shall not say culture. Custom, perhaps.
It's a little thing, but the fact that they animated her rolling her eyes, it's so good. It endears you to the character that little bit more.
Like there's so many little elements in there, right? With just every single character performance, and just, it does boggle the mind to know how they managed it. And obviously, the answer is many years of hard work and early access and plodding through updates and stuff. Like
it's to the point where each of the main characters had their own writer.
Right. Okay.
Each character had a writer who just worked on their stuff. That's how big the game was. Back to Karlach now. We have her personal quest and approval. So, Karlach's personal quest is a companion is our fiery friend. As an origin character, her personal quest is Servant of None. And it spans all the acts of the game as Karlach's past menaces closer, threatening her freedom just as she begins to enjoy it. So I won't go too much into that, but so where we have approval. And this isn't just like, to romance, so this is just like, if you want us to be your friend. And that's my canon, like, playthrough. I've played through the game multiple times. My canon playthrough is I romance Shadowheart, but I'm best fucking buds with Karlach.
Right, okay.
And to earn her approval, she has a strong, well-developed and intuitive sense of right and wrong, not unlike that of the Paladin. She enjoys helping the innocents with their troubles, not expecting anything in return, something she finds in common with Will. After their rocky first meeting, she approves of kind interactions with those in need, standing up for what is right, and being decisive with enemies, setting her up for some fun, such as carousing or making some mayhem. Also earns her approval. Being a compassionate friend or a kind partner is the easiest way of earning her trust and love, which is easily broken.
Yeah, that's one thing I'm very aware of listening to your stories with Karlach is that if I'm going to romance Karlach, I'm going to make sure that I keep that trust.
She's pretty much a permanent pick for my party. Because I remember, I think I told you about this, where one time I was like, well, you know what, I need someone else in my party for this particular bit. So I asked Karlach to stay in camp, and she just looked at me in the eye like a fucking kicked puppy and went, really? Really? I went, you know what? No, you're staying with me. Fuck it. Let's go. I'll respec Astarion. Let's go.
That affected you to the point of when I then came round to yours next, you were like, you need to see look at what happens. You need to see this.
You need to see how good this voice acting is, of just how much you feel bad for leaving her back at camp. And the best bit as well, when you say, okay, you can come with me, she goes, fuck yes. It's just that little, it's the little things that make this game fantastic. There's that little fuck yes when you do that. Or the fact that every single character in the game has overworld voice lines for every potential class they can be. So even though Karlach, as it mentions here, is a barbarian, you can respec her into whatever the fuck you want. And she has unique voice lines for every potential class she could be, and subsequent subclass. So she has like voice lines for casting all the spells. She has voice lines for like picking locks for sneaking. And one of my favourite ones is, if you like enter sneak as Karlach, she's like, sneaky Karlach.
Stealth mode activated.
I'm not gonna lie, Karlach, I don't think you were built for sneakiness.
If you spec her into being a rogue, she can. She also as well has the best voice lines of being a monk, where she just does like really exaggerated high R's.
Yeah, because the monks are the class that just like beat the shit out of people with the fists, right?
And she just does like just really exaggerated high R's because she's fucking loving it.
She just Power Rangers it.
She fucking loves it. She's got some like absolutely god tier key R's. It's the same for like barbarians. Like every character has their own barbarian scream. And for some reason, Astarion's is the best. Even though he's not supposed to be a barbarian. But the voice actor, Neil Newborn, he went into the voice booth and he recorded him fucking screaming like his paycheck depended on it, which it did.
Yeah. The real question for me is, does Karlach still gain the ability to become like 12 foot tall if she goes to a rogue or something like that?
Cast a spell on her and make her tall. Because that was like a thing that went around for a while of like, yeah, players stacked as many like growth spells and effects as they could on Karlach to make like 20 feet tall. I think like my other favourite line is if you get the drop on an enemy and it's like one enemy on their own, a rare voice line you can get is Karlach going, poor fucker. Because she knows they're dead. She knows they're gone.
Oh.
Great. I like there's a little bit where you're in the underground and someone's going to threaten to detonate. Like, I'm going to blow up this smoke powder and kill us all. If you've got Karlach in your pack, she's like, she's going to explode. That's my thing. And she's so mad at it.
How dare you take my gimmick?
But in regards to romance, Karlach can be romanced by characters of any gender, as mentioned. If romanced, Karlach's inability to touch her partner and the pain of being physically isolated from everyone for so long are issues that must be explored and overcome together. And it's like, of course, obviously most players want to romance her. The thing they're looking forward to is when, oh, well, we can finally fuck her. But again, just the bit that always affected me so much is when you get her heart fixed and she can touch for the first time. And you get an option of what you can do. And you can just hug her. And she just immediately just melts into the hug. It's the first time she's experienced being physically held in like God knows how long.
God, yeah.
And you just think like, what was that feel like? And again, Stephanie Beart did a great job of just the...
Thank you.
Such a great game and such a good performance. I'm really excited to play more and hopefully romance Karlach in the future. But
the thing as well, there's so many like little things you can do to like try and cheese the romance. Like there's a bit in the game where it's like, look, if you try and touch me, you're gonna burn yourself. If you cast like a frost spell on her, she's like, what the fuck are you doing? And you can just lay a kiss on her. And it's like, holy shit! Because that's like the D&D aspect, right? Of like, well, there's a problem being presented to you, and you have access to several tools that can be used to solve that problem. It's just up to the player if they can figure that out. And that's one of the best things about the game. Is like its combat system, its approach to dialogue, like the amount of like combat encounters you can get around by just lying. That's one thing I love about the game is what you can just lie all the time.
Yeah.
And I love that your party can intuit when you're telling a lie. So I can't tell you the amount of times I've been playing Mass Effect and I see like the option, you've got Paragon or Renegade. And so I want to say the Renegade option, but I want my character to not mean it.
Yeah.
I want to like say, oh, I killed everyone, but I want to lie about it to get past the encounter. The fact you can do that in Baldur's Gate, because that'd be a thing you could do in D&D, right? You could like pass a deception check of like, well, I'm just going to lie to this person about, yeah, I'll betray my party members, wink wink.
Yeah, like if Shepard, for example, threatens somebody they mean that threat. But sometimes you want to threaten someone as a lie and not actually mean it, but just see if it'll get you out of a situation.
I recall the exact moment I realised that Baldur's Gate was something special. And it's where you encounter the Gith who are looking for you. But they don't know they're looking for you. And Lae'zel is talking to them, and you have the option to mouth to her, play along. And she'll do it. And just the idea that you can lie, but then that your party members know that you're lying.
And can go along with it.
Yes, they'll go along with that, but also it doesn't affect your approval rating. Because like, the party members who might disapprove of you saying that know that you don't mean it. And I love it's hard to explain, but when I went to, like, say for example, Cyberpunk and tried to play through that game, it's like, oh, I picked the bad option, so everyone fucking hated me.
And that's the thing is, like, say for example, ragging on Mass Effect, we know that Mass Effect is an older game, and therefore, like, was pretty revolutionary at the time, but things have moved on. Whereas, like, a Cyberpunk, it's like, no, get your shit together. What are you doing?
And just, I'm going to give, like, just props to the game. For, like, you got a lot of people into D&D. Not me. My friends who are into D&D are like, do you want to play some D&D down? I'm like, no. That's why I've replayed Baldur's Gate, like, fucking, like, 20 times. It's not enough to get me into D&D, but it's enough for me to appreciate the world of D&D.
It's a very good stepping in point, right? Because
dip your toes, right? Same as it is for people who are engaging in polyamory, right? It's like, hey, this looks kind of fun. I might try this.
Yeah.
Just some people saw it about throwing dice, other people saw it about inviting another person into the bedroom. Like, you know, welcomes all sorts.
Hell yeah.
And to end on, Lucas, just like any moments from the game that stuck out to you in your first playthrough.
Discovering how many secret paths there were was really interesting. Just the amount of times that we'd just like be walking around and just stumble upon something and like, oh yeah, God, there's a secret door here just to like an entire other part of the world.
The fact where you can fuck stuff up. And the game continues, right?
I know a lot about that.
I love that you can just mess stuff up. You can make bad decisions and just live with it. Like we met like Barkus, right? It's like, oh, we'll press the button to stop the windmill, Lucas. Okay. Oh, you sped it up. and you're like, you asked me, is he important? A little bit. If you don't kill him, you can talk to him in Act 3 and you have a really big, like, he's really important at the end of the game. What happens now? Well, he's fucking dead. With that plot line's done. Like,
and one thing I kind of appreciate is that a lot of the time it'll let you do that without doing, like, the Bethesda thing of, like, questline fails.
Questline fails. Like, oh, the threads of... Like, they'll never do what they did in Morrowind, because, like, gaming has become so much more mainstream. And as a result, audiences for bigger games are so much more casual. They could not deal with that amount of nonsense. Like, we're never going to get, like, in Morrowind, where you can kill plot important characters, and it just says, well, you know, the tapestry of fate, the threads that connect it have been severed. You can keep playing if you want, but you're never going to see the end of the game. And then fast forward to like Skyrim, it's like this character's too important, you just knocked him out.
Yeah.
Whereas in Baldur's Gate, like you could straight my first playthrough, I didn't get Gale because I just left him in the fucking rock. And I was talking to someone, I'm like, wait, there's a wizard. Yeah, he's the guy in the rock. Well, I left him. I was scared. I didn't want to I thought I'd fail the roll and hurt myself. Like, oh, he's gone. You're never going to see him again.
Yeah.
And you could just do that.
You can, yeah. I think in my first playthrough, I just will die. Like, when I played like the first 5 hours or so before we played it, it's like, yeah, Will just got killed. It's like, oh.
What a game. Yeah, thank you for everyone for watching. Thank you to today's sponsor. Check out the links found below if you're interested in that. But as well, just, yeah, go play some fucking Baldur's Gate. God, what a game. Such a... Oh, I'm going to do another playthrough. Damn it.
Wow, Karl. That was a really great video that we both just watched.
It was indeed, yes. I greatly enjoyed our discussion of Topic.
I love Topic.
I do, yes. Like, you know, the stuff we talked about while discussing Topic was very interesting, and I hope the audience found it interesting too.
You're one sexy man. Fill up, J. Fry.
And you know who else we have to show love to, Karl? That would be, of course, the people on our shout-out tier over on our Patreon.
We certainly do, Lucas, and if anyone would like to join our Patreon to get a shout out at the end of the videos, they can do so by following the links found below. As a reminder, we have a standing offer, a challenge if you will, to our audience to try and come up with a name to shout out that is difficult for us to pronounce or just embarrasses us with our lack of knowledge, as people did last month with the reference to the Transformers movie we didn't get.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, that was a rough one. People certainly let us know about that, but hopefully maybe we do a little bit better this time with knowing what all the references are.
Ba weep grana weep ninibon.
Ba weep grana weep ninibon.
Ba weep grana weep ninibon.
Well, I certainly get the reference in the first person we have to shout out. So the first person we have to give a shout out to is Bee of Awesome. Specifically, their name reads, Bee of Awesome do a fusion dance to make Karl or Carcass. P.S. Wish me luck with the calves this month. And Lucas, are you feeling a fusion dance?
I mean, yeah, sure, let's go.
Okay, so do you remember the fusion dance?
I do, because you got to kind of go that way and then that way.
You go that way, and then it's you want to do the so
fusion. There we go. We did our best. The Discord
also, so we'd have to get really far back as well to make sure we can fit our arms on screen. Because I feel like with our height difference, if we try to do a fusion dance, we would do the thing where your fingers don't quite connect, and we'd end up creating like a really skinny one or a really fat one.
But then the next person we have to shout out is Dan Daly. So thank you so much, Dan Daly.
And I am a big fan of the alliteration. The more alliteration, the better, in my opinion, which a couple of our Patreon supporters have taken to heart by turning their name into a tongue twister.
Mm-hmm. Indeed.
But there's no tongue twister here, Lucas, with Judge Dredd. Simply Judge Dredd. And I just want to give one more shout out, because every time I point out that Judge Dredd is supposed to be like satire, some people don't get it. And it's like, do you really not get that it's supposed to be satire when Judge Dredd uses white phosphorus indoors?
Shh, Karl. That's just badass, right? That's just cool.
It's like, well, I didn't realise Judge Dredd is a commentary on the over-militarisation of the police. White phosphorus grenades authorised for use indoors, next to people's houses.
Oh. That would lead to, Karl, people kicking the bucket.
It would indeed.
That's how we thank the next person who supports us. Kicking bucket with a little bucket emoji afterwards.
I love as well, like, again, at some point, we're going to get people just submitting hieroglyphics.
We have to, yeah.
Like, people are going to be submitting hieroglyphics or just, like, Sanskrit. Or just like, okay, I translated the sound that an owl made. There you go, done.
Like,
figure that out.
What happens when you put Wingdings into Patreon names, right?
Oh god, I don't want to find out. I don't want to find out what happens when you try and get Microsoft Sam to say Wingdings.
Put out an APB on a Eustace R. Dewo. Better start with Greektown.
Right. And the next person we have to shout out is Lucille Disteel. And thank you to Lucille Disteel for letting me put in more clips of one of my favourite film, Real Steel.
Please do something!
Not yet!
That's right, darling, not yet!
I don't care how limp the excuse is. If there's an opportunity to put a clip of Real Steel into a video, I'm putting a clip of Real Steel into that video. Specifically my favourite clip, where right at the end of the film, Hugh Jackman, who's in control of the robot, just go with it, he's fighting like an 85-ton mega super billion-dollar robot, and he just goes... he just gives him like, I'm not fucking done, I didn't hear no bell.
I gotta tell you folks, the champ looks tired. This robot seems to be running on empty. I don't believe it. Adam is taunting Zeus. Mr. Turbo. He's actually asking for more.
And Karl, if we're going to use this as an excuse to throw in some like fun clips from comfort movies, then I have to thank Michael Tatum for supporting us, so I can throw in a clip of, you know, one of my favourite mics, and that is Mike Wazowski from Monsters Inc.
Oh, well, hello there. What's your name?
Michael Tatum.
Is it ever confirmed that his full name is Michael Wazowski, or is it just Mike?
I don't know about the Michael. It's definitely Mike Wazowski. I don't know whether it's Michael Wazowski.
Because I know, like, Sully is James P. Sullivan, right? Yeah. Like, he has, like, a full proper name. I'll double check. And I'll put, like, a picture on screen to confirm whether or not... Is he Michael Wazowski, or is it Mike?
Mm-hmm.
It's like you, right? When I found out your name isn't Lucas.
Shush. that doesn't need to go in. It's fine.
The thing that Joel is that's lore. That's deep lore. So wait, what? Lucas's name isn't Lucas? What the fuck is it?
Shh. Cut the clip. Cut the clip.
Shh. Don't tell people his secret real name. So we move on now to, speaking of secret real name, Rosalindus Memphis. And I did try last time we shouted out Rosalindus Memphis, who is a returning supporter. Thank you very much. A clip from the song "Walking in Memphis" because I like that song, and it's the only song I could think of with the word Memphis in it. I put in 1 second of that piano intro, instantly copyright struck. Keep in mind as well that this shout out goes at the end of the video.
Yeah.
So at the end of a 50-minute long video, whoever owns the rights to that song, Mark Cohen, I think it is, his music label must have seen this video. Oh, it's a 55-minute long video. They use 1 second of his song.
We own that shit.
We can claim all that money. It's like, fuck you.
I'm going to make things a little bit more difficult for you then, Karl, because I'm going to say, thank you to the next person who is on our chart tier, of course, Split Screen. And I was going to mention, as you mentioned music, just putting in some Starscream music from Transformers Devastation.
Prepare to be lost in space, Autobot!
Oh, you can get away with that. Video game music, you always get away with.
Oh, okay.
So I'll definitely put the clip in of Starscream's theme song from Transformers Devastation. That game whips ass. And you know what? Whoever wrote that song won't send us a copyright strike because they want it to be shared. They know how rad it is. You know what, Karl? You put that clip of Starscream's theme in. It's awesome. More people need to hear it.
Hopefully a Transformers clip will make up for our devastating Transformers miss last month.
And I will certainly put in the clip of Starscream flying into frame as Butt Rock starts playing in the background in the middle of space, where he just screams "Prepare to be lost in space, Autobots!" My favourite quote from Starscream is in the challenge mode, where one of the challenges is fight Starscream and Thundercracker and 15 other fucking jets at once. And it's the only time in the game Starscream ever says the line "death from above," but he says it so quick because he's flying as he says it. He's like, "Death from above!" and just flies in.
Destruction from above!
And as mentioned earlier, there's a gauntlet being thrown down for our audience on Patreon to challenge us with tongue twisters. Someone's taken that gauntlet, dipped it in shit and slapped me across the face with it. So their name is the Boladus Bajando Bajar Blast Buffing Bacas de Caca de Buffalo Bombonado Bolodeses Bucanada Ebaca Bailando Con Barbosa. And I will say, I'm a fan of tongue twisters. I'm not a fan of tongue twisters in languages I don't speak. I like my favourite poem. Fuzzy Wuzzy was a bear, Fuzzy Wuzzy had no hair, so Fuzzy Wuzzy wasn't Fuzzy Wuzzy.
And in that
So I'm good at tongue twisters, just not ones in languages I don't speak.
I was giggling because Karl has clearly cut him fumbling a tongue twister out.
That's getting cut as well, fuck it.
And then I guess one name to challenge me to shout out is Tiniqui or Chata Ogdiclane Tomi. And you always correct me on this one. It's a Nahuatl, the language, yes?
Nahuatl, I believe, yes.
getting there.
Mexicano, I believe.
I'm getting there.
We don't speak the language, so we appreciate people trying to challenge us on our pronunciation, but for a tongue twister, give me a tongue twister in English. And speaking of little, the final person we have to shout out is ghost emoji, little ghost emoji, ghost emoji. And Lucas, who's your favourite little ghost? Is it Casper? It's got to be Casper.
I mean, the moment you said little ghost, the first thing that came to my brain was Casper. So if not my favourite, it's at least word association, right?
Yeah, Casper, the friendly little ghost. Should we do a video about Casper at some point? I'd like to rewatch that movie to see if it's held up. To be fair, I would actually low-key kind of love a reboot of Casper the asshole ghost with a gun.
Oh, dear. But yeah, I guess thank you all once again for a new month of more support from all you lovely folks. And yeah, it's just always appreciated. Thank you so much.
Support is never expected, but always appreciated. Thank you. Have a great time.
Yeah.